Hey there everybody, Pete Pardo here. Welcome to another edition of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility, the show on the channel where we take a look at some of the cool new releases in the world of heavy metal, progressive rock, jazz fusion, classic rock, and hard rock. We cover all of those styles here on the channel. Today, hot off the presses, it's been out for about a week now. I've listened to this a bunch of times. Liquid Tension Experiment 3. This comes hot on the heels of Liquid Tension Experiment 2 in 1999. You might be saying, but Pete, that's a long time ago. Yes, indeed, that is a long time ago. Hard to believe it's been that many years. They came out with Liquid Tension Experiment, the first one in 98, followed that up a year later with the second one, and now, of course, all sorts of things going on with all members of this supergroup here. All sorts of other projects and things like that happening. You know, of course, Mike Portnoy leaving Dream Theater and working with Transatlantic and Winery Dogs and Neil Morse Band and all that sort of thing. And, of course, Tony Levin with King Crimson and Stickmen. And, you know, of course, Petrucci and Rudess are always busy with Dream Theater. So all these years later, finally getting back together for the third album. Here it is right here. Let's take a look at this, shall we? This is the 2-disc digipack. All right. Okay. We've got the full new album, LTE 3, and then A Night at the Improv is the bonus disc. And again, there are the guys. Everybody's sporting some facial hair, some more than others, right? Here's the booklet. Of course, Tony Levin on basses, Chapman stick, John Petrucci guitars, Mike Portnoy drums, Jordan Rudess on keyboards. There are the guys hanging out in the studio. I love that shot of Tony. Very cool. With his King Crimson mask. Mr. Petrucci. Mr. Portnoy. Mr. Rudess. There they are once again. So what do we get on this album? So if you're familiar with the previous two Liquid Tension Experiment albums, all instrumental music, pretty high octane, pretty complex, heavy in spots. It's progressive rock and bits of fusion on steroids, of course. You get plenty of that on here. Memorable melodies. Kudos to the guys for always creating memorable songs within all of this kind of, you know, cacophony that's going on. It all makes sense. It starts off with hypersonic, 8 minutes and change of absolutely face-melting, crushing instrumental progressive metal. All right, just mind-blowing. What a way to kind of start this album off. Then we've got to go to Beating the Odds, another real high energy but melodic prog and metal and hard rock style track. Then for the track number 3, it's called Liquid Evolution. That's a shorter piece, really nice. Kind of reminds me of some of the solo stuff of John Petrucci a bit. More guitar based, really nice melodic lines throughout that song. It's mostly, like I said, mostly lead guitar driven, but really tasty, really melodic, very memorable, a lot mellower, not quite as big and bombastic and complex. From there, you go to The Passage of Time. That kind of kicks things up a notch a bit. Great drumming from Portnoy on this one. A lot of cool, like kind of shifting keyboards and guitars and things on that. Then you've got a pretty dark track, which is called Chris and Kevin's Amazing Odyssey. It's basically, from what it sounds like to me, it's basically Tony and Mike. Tony doing these kind of weird sounds on the bass, all right? Just kind of crimsonish in spots, right? Kind of cool rumbling drums underneath from Portnoy. Very cool. Then you've got their take on Rhapsody in Blue, old Gershwin classic. Really cool, like 13 minutes and change. Goes from real majestic, kind of piano-driven to big, crunchy, you know, heavy metal riffs and stuff, and then all the craziness comes in. Really cool. Shades of Hope, again, kind of majestic, very melodic. And then last but not least, you have Key to the Imagination, which again kind of fluctuate different feels, some atmosphere, lots of real majestic passages, and then the big heavy sections, the crazy solo and all that kind of stuff. You get a little bit of everything here. You know, if you're if you come to a Liquid Tension Experiment album, you know you're going to get lots of blowing, lots of soloing, lots of big heavy riffs, amazingly intricate rhythms, but more importantly too, the melodies that always seem to seep through. And you get that in spades on this album. I dig this a lot. Had a hard time taking this out of my player over the last week. It's really, really good stuff. But that's not all you get on here, which is the really cool thing. You get a second disc, like I mentioned, called Night at the Improv, which is 5 lengthy improvisations that almost don't sound like improvisations. I mean, it's like, like these guys just got together and just let it all hang out, and whatever was going to be was going to be. But they sound like there was a plan set in place before they did these. And again, props to the guys. These are virtuoso musicians here. They should be able to come up with something that's kind of like an impromptu jam, yet it makes perfect sense and it actually goes somewhere. So you've got Blink of an Eye, which is 10 and change, Solid Resolution Theory, 10 and change, View from the Mountaintop, which is just over 5 minutes, Your Beard is Good, which is just under 15 minutes long, and then Yaman, also 15 minutes and change. All sorts of cool stuff on here. This is where the guys just kind of let loose, let it all hang out. But again, it's just as compelling listening. And to me, the entire 2 discs really go well together. You get the real structured, meticulous stuff, and then the just kind of loosey-goosey, so to speak. But it's still friggin' amazing. So there you have it. Liquid Tension Experiment 3. Well worth checking out. I'm sure if you are a fan, you've already gotten this. And does it sound like a band who hadn't played together in a long time? Not at all. Not at all. So very cool stuff. Well worth the wait. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. Coming up on the channel tonight, of course, it's Thursday night. The Monsters Den. Tonight with Rich Catino and Chris Allo, we are going to be talking about and listing some of our favorite boogeymen. That's right, those, call them killers, call them slashers, call them, I don't know if we necessarily want to call them monsters. I guess they are monsters, but these are the guys who terrorize people in some classic horror films, the boogeymen, all right? And we're going to each list our 10 favorites. So stay tuned for that later, and more stuff happening on the channel. Martin Popoff back in the house tomorrow morning, and all sorts of stuff happening over the weekend, so don't miss any of it. We'll see you then, guys. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. If you feel like donating, or click on the link in the video description below for our Ko-Fi link. If you like, I get a lot of people who message me all the time. It's like, when are you going to sell t-shirts? When are you going to get a merch page? Guys, we've had it for like a year. I talk about it on the channel all the time. So if you're interested in a Sea Tranquility t-shirt or hat or a hoodie or a coffee mug or a sticker or whatever, we've got a wide variety. Check them out. The link is below as well. See you soon. Bye-bye.